Hi, Tom Crane. Welcome to one of our Webbies. Today's topic, as you can see, is the leader's role in culture change. We don't have a lot of time, so here we go. First of all, let me offer the idea that culture is the framework under which we get all of our results done in the organization. We have a strategy, we've got structure and systems. Key that those be aligned with our culture, which is commonly known as how we do things around here. I think that's a little bit short-sighted. It's about how we do things and how we treat people. I think that's actually the more salient aspect of what a culture really is all about. Source of energy and passion. Bottom bullet there, created by leaders' actions. Leaders are so instrumental. They are the architects and the sustainers of organizational culture, which again is how we go about getting our performance of the organization. So the last thing it said was it's created by leaders' actions. Well, let's share with you some information that shows that that's actually true. Bossity and Sharon in their book Execution just a few years ago, the role of leaders cannot be understated. The culture of a company is the behavior of its leaders. I'm reading that to you. Sorry. Leaders get the behavior they exhibit and that they tolerate. You change the culture of the company by changing the behaviors of the leaders. You measure the change in culture by measuring the change in personal behavior of its leaders. You hear the theme. It's clear that it comes down to the behavioral component of how one goes about leading. Performance of the business has then has been measured as well. But the point is that the role of leaders, again, cannot be understated. And in our work, when we start to work with leaders and their teams, or we have this paradigm that we have named for years, ever since the book got published back in the mid 90s, 1995. The idea is about shifting from being the boss of people. Why? Because I said so, I'm the boss, to a coach for people, signifying being a service mindset, being there to serve, there to help and support. So rather than the energy on the left-hand column being about pushing and driving and telling and directing, which we need to do once in a while, but it's a rare idea that's done from time to time. We spend time lifting and supporting people. We spend time asking and suggesting and offering our input, as opposed to telling people what to do. Rather than coming from knowing the answer, we spend more time in a state of humility, really soliciting feedback and coaching, tapping the best ideas of those around us in our organization. We do things to consciously not trigger people's insecurity, all kinds of threatening language and innuendo, as we know too well, are often done. We try to purposely trigger engagement so people are willing to open up their ideas, their heart, their whole countenance about how they can better show up at work and better support the mission of the team because they've identified with that. So they become engaged. It's a safe place to engage the whole human being. So they bring all of who they are to work. Rather than use fear to achieve compliance, which is a very short-sighted thing. Yes, there are things we need to comply with, like laws, etc. But we spend time really focusing on purpose to inspire commitment. People want to belong to an organization that they believe in. Rather than creating victims, we do things by taking away people's choices and forcing them to do things and being told what to do and ordered around. We spend time embracing accountability and modeling it ourselves, but then having other people have the latitude to use positive accountability in a very constructive way. I'll have a Webbie coming up on that here probably next. Rather than appearing invincible and like you're perfect, it's about modeling vulnerability, being open, being real, being authentic. Focused only on the numbers and results, well, those are the natural outcome of the way we balance our focus on both the process, how we go about getting the results we get, and the outcomes that we achieve. So rather than getting the most from the people by cracking the whip, we spend time getting the best from people, having it be an environment where they are absolutely supported and bringing all of who they are to work. That is a transformative culture. And we find that this process of opening up communications, the way we describe it, the way we teach it, the way people learn to embody it, transforms everything. A couple more notes here relative to coaching and leadership, how it is leadership, etc. I would say it this way. I would say coaching is actually applied leadership. It's taking everything you think we know about what leadership means in a contemporary sense, and then being able to embody that as a coach. So you show up as a coach, you show up coachable. If you can do that the way we work with it and the model that we use with our clients, then you're tapping the very best what it means to be a leader these days. So if you can't coach, if you won't coach, I believe you limit your leadership impact and your effectiveness as a manager, as a leader, whatever capacity you're in, as a team member. So the idea is coaching is such a key ingredient. It's the core of what it means to show up, I believe, as a leader. So it's modality. It's how you show up. It's who you are, bringing all of who you are to the colleagues that you have the privilege of working with and leading. You can consider this to be a role modeling, a practitioner, an advocate, a champion. Use an adjective or a noun there that works for you, that really captures the essence of it. But those four are the ones that we typically use in our work and get people thinking about their role in a little bit more expansive way, not just being the boss or being a manager of a department, but being an advocate for the new culture, a practitioner of the skills around coaching and accountability that really make things work the way they can. So often we hear, gee, I don't have time to coach. It's not incremental work. It's how you interact, how you engage with people as you go through the process. So it's about how you think and how you do your work. Not more time required. Is using the time you have. When people can kind of get that, oh my gosh, yeah, it's how I'm using the interactive time. Then they see that there's a huge possibility for how more efficient and effective they can be in the way they go about leading. Number 4, you get what you coach to, not what you hope for. Hope is not a coaching strategy. Giving people the benefit of the doubt is up front, and as you work with them over time, being patient. But the idea is if you can't sit down eyeball to eyeball and have a conversation and talk about beliefs, behaviors, attitudes, results, the way things are happening, the way things are not happening, the way they really need to be happening for your customers or your clients, if you can't coach to those things, you're not really going to impact change. So the idea is to learn how to take a toolkit that we offer, embody that, learn what the mechanics of the communication process is all about at its best, and then share feedback based upon expectations that have been set, share feedback, what's working, what's not, what things can be improved, and then how can we make things better and come up with a shared commitment for both the coachee and the coach. Sometimes it's the coach leader and his or her team. So you get everybody involved in these kinds of dialogue, action-focused dialogue sessions that empower everybody to take action and want to and choose to engage. So it's not a technique, it's a roadmap that we advocate. That was described in one of the early Webbies. Of course, it's all over my website as well, the roadmap that we teach. So that it ends up being a coachee-centered conversation. It's not the boss telling somebody what to do. It's not make nice. It's having a real, authentic, feedback-based conversation that transforms the way people think, the way they feel about their job, the way they interact with you, the kind of relationship you have. It is a trust-building conversation that is focused on your coachee or coachees, plural. Building trust and rapport all the time. It is a top of mind practice to be involved in. How do I do this? How do I say this in such a way as it will get through, as the message will land, as it will be interpreted in the way that you would hope it's interpreted, but then it provokes positive action. And then the last thing it says there, number 7, show up coachable, open to receive and to respond to feedback. That's the whole idea of my latest book, The Rise of the Coachable Leader. It captures stories of some of the major clients we work with, that when the leaders choose to show up coachable and open and they become solicitous of feedback and they're humble about it, they are grateful for having received the feedback, it transforms how everybody sees them, because they're now all of a sudden more open, more transparent, more vulnerable, and you feel safer in their presence, and you're more easily prompted to open up and give your heart, give your best work, and engage, which is what this is all about, right? Engagement.